Suppose we could travel back in time. Back in time to the days when travel was done by horse and coach. Well, we're about to take a trip back through time in this episode of Travel Oz as we travel with the true Outback pioneers. G'day, welcome. I'm Greg Granger.
Vintage Cobb & Co coaches, vintage Paddlewheelers, vintage cars. It's all happening in Longreach in the heart of Outback, Queensland. This is the home of Qantas. Some historic planes are displayed here. And it's where the Stockmans Hall of Fame proudly shows off the legend of the Aussie Outback. It's also the home of Outback pioneers. Every day they take visitors on a journey back through the ages to a place where sheepdogs like Banjo go through their paces, where town criers can still be heard.
Welcome to Longreach, the capital of the Central West.
And where pianolas are still played with passion. Come with us as we join the true Outback pioneers.
The story of Cobb & Co is legendary. More than a century ago, these sturdy coaches carried passengers, goods and most importantly mail all over Eastern Australia. Today that legend is carried on here in Longreach by Outback pioneers.
Galloping stagecoaches, what a sight! 5 horses, 3 in the front, 2 in the back. It's known as the Cobb & Co hitch. And what they're pulling is a replica Cobb & Co coach. Now you won't see this anywhere else in Australia, just here in Longreach, in the centre of Outback Queensland. And it's all the vision of one man, Richard Kinnan.
My vision for the whole concept is to inspire and educate current and future generations of our pioneering past and where I believe all the answers lie.
Richard Kinnan's vision now extends well beyond his galloping stagecoach pulling teams of horses.
That everything we do, whether it's accommodation, whether it's the old time tent show, whether it's whatever Outback Pioneers does today is all linked and connected to storytelling of our pioneers.
The Cobb & Co legend all began with an ambitious young American, Freeman Cobb, who started a network that opened up Australia in the early gold rush days.
If it wasn't for those men and Cobb & Co's network, this country would have never got going as quick as it did.
So let's get the horses ready for their gallop today. Brendan Trace is preparing the teams this morning, giving the horses a new lease of life after their days on the racetrack.
Brendan, what sort of horses are you running here?
Mate, these are all standardbred horses,
Yeah.
or trotting horses straight off the racetrack. So,
Why? Why a racetrack?
mate, they're a good hardy breed. They're not too far behind an Arab horse when it comes to stamina. So they can go for long distances at that good steady trot. And they're readily available. There's plenty of them there, sort of give them another life after racing. They're easy to get your hands on.
So it's not just trotting, of course, you're galloping.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get them up to a bit of speed, don't worry about that.
And they'll handle that.
Oh, no worries at all. But no, they're good steady trot, about 10 to 12 k's an hour. That's what they would have poked along at. And that's when you really get the best out of your horse. Your coaches run at the lightest and yeah, they'll go all day at a trot.
Today the coaches are being pulled through the main street of Longreach. They're trotting at first. But once they get to the village common, well, it's a far faster pace.
So Richard, you're keeping that Cobb & Co legend alive.
As much as we possibly can, from tasting the bull dust to smelling it, to feeling the dust on you, it's exhilarating. makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end when you can go down on the mail track, taste it, feel it, smell it, and do it.
Exhilarating indeed. Visitors have come from all over Australia for this experience.
You keep on coming back. What's the thrill? What's the buzz?
Just really, you know, the history of it, and just, you know, going out there through the countryside. It's just beautiful.
Yes, we were just following the Cobb & Co trail all the way up. We've been up to Richmond, saw it there.
So you're a bit of a Cobb & Co connoisseur, are you?
Only this trip. We've been following that and waltzing Matilda, so it's been
Quite
good.
some history the
Yes,
Cobb & Co has.
absolutely. Yes, amazing. Yeah.
So what happens to these working horses when they're too old to pull these magnificent coaches? Well, they're put out to pasture on Outback Pioneer's neighbouring rural property, No Go Station. We'll check out No Go next.
It's all go out here at No Go. Now, this is the No Go Station, owned by the Kinnan family, who are founders of Outback Pioneers. It's out here on a tour that you'll learn all about shearing merino sheep. You'll also tune in to the dying art of Australian yarn telling.
Jeremy Kinnan certainly spins a great yarn. He's Richard's oldest son and lives in this historic homestead that was built more than a century ago in 1918.
So over a century old, your home. What sort of a homestead have you got there?
It's a 9-bedroom house, there's an old parlour room, so that was like a flash eating area where you'd take your special visitors or friends or family. And then you got like an entertainment area where like you got your library and your bookshelves and all that sort of stuff.
Jeremy takes us out to the shearing shed, still used to this day to shear the 5,000 merino sheep on No Go Station. It's here we meet Jeremy's working companion, Banjo, a beautiful border collie born to work.
So long-haired, and he's an insulated coat. Same thing. You think he might get hot in the summer? Well, no. Short-haired dogs, the sun get directly to their body. A long-haired dog is insulated if they got the right type of fur. He's very pure, so he's a European collie, European border collie. His instinct is to work stock. If you can have instinct like that in a dog, that's where you'll get a really good working dog.
Banjo displays those working instincts with a relish this morning, vigorously leaping onto the back of the sheep to direct them out of the pen. He's been named after the bush poet Banjo Patterson, displaying the great spirit of the outback as he brings the sheep under his control. One at a time, the merinos are released onto the shearing floor.
These aren't pet sheep. People say, oh, how do you get them so quiet? They're not pet sheep. These are running out of the paddock, and they've only done about 2 or 3 tours this year, and that's all. They've been shorn a couple times, but they don't remember it. Sheep are pretty dumb. There's only one thing dumber than a sheep. Can anyone know? That's the bloke who tries farming them. Yeah.
And now Jeremy demonstrates the shearer's technique.
So we put this leg here, we put that behind our leg, and that helps us hold him. Okay, because we're going to pick the handpiece up in a minute, pull this into gear and start shearing. We need this hand for keeping things out of the way of the handpiece. This one's operating the handpiece. So when we're shearing his belly wool first, which is that bit there. So we're shearing down here and then into the flank area. We've got to watch his pizzle because he's a wether. You know what a wether is? He's a castrated male sheep. You see that wool? Just like gold. Beautiful. Once we're done, you just let him sit up, he has a look, and then you just give him a little bit of encouragement to go down the slide, okay? Sheep's got to be shorn. If you don't shear a merino sheep, they get that much wool on them that they plonk down and die. So a sheep needs a shepherd, and that's such a true saying, because if you don't have someone to shear him and get the wool off him, he can't survive.
And then it's on to the next stage of the no-go tour.
We do a tour twice a week here, we bring people out and give them a look at what real country life's all about. It's a fully working station, so we don't only just do tourism, we do all the stations work as well with sheep and cattle and also some goats. So yeah, that's she's in full swing.
Visitors are invited on board an open top-deck double-decker bus, the sort of sightseeing vehicle you'd expect to take you through central London. And who's at the helm? The intrepid Richard Kinnan.
This is absolutely perfect sheep and cattle country when it's having a good season. You've nearly got to be born and bred in it to be able to read the country and read what's coming so you can prepare yourself for the next challenge.
It's like driving through a zoo here at No-Go. Emus abound. So too do wild donkeys.
These wild donkeys are out of Central Australia. We went and caught them and brought them here to tell the story. Donkeys were used for our pioneering. The pioneers used them. They're a beast of burden. They're very, very useful.
There's also a big herd of camels, as Richard's other son, Lane, explains.
They were on the place there when we originally took over, and they were captured and took there, and they're kind of a bit wild. They're from the wild and whatnot. So, but I bet you not many camels have seen as many tourists as them ones, but they've still got the wild streak in them for sure. To look at a camel and the structure of him, you wouldn't think he could move very well, but they can move. And yeah, you don't take a camel for granted because they kick with their front legs before their back legs, and no one knows what a camel's gonna do. Well, I can't read a camel. That's one animal I cannot read, but yeah, no, the camel's a good part of it. And look, let's face it, they had a role in opening up Australia in the early days, so a lot of wild camels now, but they did have a role in our early days, opening up the country.
For Lane, he's a jack of all trades here at Outback Pioneers, working at whatever's needed to keep operations running smoothly.
I love living on the land and I love living on the property and whatnot, and it's where my heart is. I grew up, and to be able to then share that with visitors and guests, I see that as a privilege.
For the camels, it's Richard's bus that gets them excited. What a pace they get up! Another exhilarating experience. Time out then for lunch at a bush camp, the Saddlebag Lunch, where guests can reminisce about their adventures so far. Galloping stagecoach horses, camels at full stretch. So what's next on the agenda for Outback Pioneers? Cruising Longreach's Thompson River on an historic paddlewheeler.
Paddlewheelers have played such an integral role in the history of Outback Australia. Now here, out of Longreach, on a long reach of the Thompson River, Outback Pioneers are running paddlewheelers up this historic waterway.
We're cruising today on Outback Pioneers' Thompson Belle, a 40-year-old paddlewheeler that offers a unique and authentic experience of what it was like to travel on a paddlewheeler in the early days of the Outback. This river, the Thompson, has played a significant role in the development of the region.
It's the blood vein of Australia, and it's one of the only river systems that doesn't see the ocean, so it's quite significant. And the Longreach waterhole, which is in the Thompson River, is the longest reach of water in the whole system. So it was a no-brainer to call it the Longreach.
Paddlewheelers were once a common sight on these waters, so skipping the Thompson Belle is a source of great historic pride these days for the lady entrusted with commanding her, Alex Birchall.
actually different every single day we come out. Like, every day it's different. There's a different sunrise, different sunset. And, yeah, it's just beautiful. Yeah, driving a bit of history, you know, and I like being part of history. I was born sort of where Henry Lawson was born, and I've always followed sort of the story of bush poets and all that, and this kind of just fits into that. Yeah.
There's a storyteller on board as well, Steve Phelan.
I don't believe enough people get out here because it's, you have a look at the sunset, like the stars at night, it's unbelievable, totally different world.
And for passengers like Alex Vaughan, it's the latest chapter in a trip of discovery he's making all over Australia.
We've really enjoyed the scenery with Tasmania, with the Daintree rainforest, with the Great Barrier Reef. We've just seen some fantastic places. And of course now out in Longreach and in Winton and out to the edge of the Outback has been, just fascinating. It's been a really nice way to spend a day, nice way to see kind of the pioneer spirit and the way things were done in the past. And also the humor was these guys come at this job with a real sense of humor, and it makes it a lot of fun.
Certainly these river cruises are timed to show off the Thompson River at its best. Leave an hour before sunset means the full glory of an Outback sunset is on display. For Richard Kinnan, these Thompson River cruises are very special every time.
It's great to come down here and spend time with our city cousins that are out here seeing our wonderful Outback, our amazing Outback. Of course, it's got a beauty of its own.
Back on shore, there's a campfire and a bush poet. This is Bill Heck telling us about jockey Jimmy running the Dubbo Mile on a horse called Satan's Fat.
Satan's Fat was name your odds. Jimmy thought his only hope was the faith you place in gods. So unexpected was the violence that Jimmy dropped the rein. It was then the horse leapt forward, so he quickly grabbed the mane. It bolted from the starting gate like a scolded cat set free. It settled down a length in front, and at the turn was 3. The favourite lifted sharply as the winning post drew near, but the Brumby came on stronger and finished 8 lengths clear. Jimmy had his eyes closed tight as he crossed to claim the win, and he was never going to stop him, so the horse went round again.
Poems by the Thompson River and a movie show. Commissioned by the Kinnans, this is the story of legendary cattle duffer Harry Redford and includes cameo appearances from the 2 Kinnan brothers.
And I can remember passing all these caravanners, and I can still hear me dad saying, if we could only get $1 out of every one of these caravanners that went up this road, mate, it'd be a big help on the land through these droughts.
Movies by the Longreach of the Thompson River. Time to see what else the Kinnan family is up to. From vintage paddlewheelers to vintage cars. This is one of Richard Kinnan's favourites, a 1927 Canadian Whippet.
These were the vehicles that built the Outback. They were the first of the H boxes, and they were unstoppable.
So unstoppable a century later, and you're still driving it through the streets of Longreach.
Yep, she doesn't miss a beat, this old girl. She's fully original, fully registered. I use her 3 to 4 times a week at least, if not every day, running people back to their motels, giving them a ride in it. Most of the oldies that come out here, their granddad used to have one of these or a car like this, and they love to go for a spin because it brings back childhood memories of going somewhere with granddad in his old car.
Richard's fascination with all historic Outback memorabilia extends to his collection of vintage cars and buggies, a collection he lines up outside the accommodation he offers. Many of these historic cars and buggies are from Birdsville, where Richard has purchased the entire Birdsville Museum's superb Outback collection. Just look at some of the treasures he's purchased to display in Longreach.
That's a vehicle that was built by Cobb and Co.
Yeah.
They called it a Diamond Tenner. and that's the last diamantina that was built in the Cobb & Co factory, well, the last diamantina ever to be built really, but it was built in the Cobb & Co factory at Charleville. This is a Dodge 4, 1924, and it's actually number 3 off the production line. John Flynn, our famous aerial ambulance man, he had number 2. And this is number 3. So John Flynn even had a part to do with this vehicle. This one here is pretty special to us fellas because it was belonged to royalty out of the Middle East, and they had quite a significant large holding in these parts of merino wool growing country. And yep, he brought 4 bits of household furniture out with him and his family when he come out here to Outback Australia, and he brought 1 vehicle, and this was the vehicle that he brought with him.
The displays we're looking at today are on show outside the stables. These are the replica old-time rooms on offer to visitors.
Yep, this is where she all happens.
So you've built the rooms here to replicate the way stables used to be?
Look, Greg, there's a lot of time, a lot of research and a lot of effort's gone into recreating the atmosphere of yesterday and our pioneers.
Let's start with the ceiling, corrugated iron up there. How about the ironing board? Beautiful treated pine timber. There's an old ice chest, spruced up as a side table, and a big collection of crockery, styled as in days of old. From the living room to the bathroom, every item thoughtfully installed to fit the theme of yesteryear. So where did it all start? With an old-time store, the Station Store, housed these days in 2 former hotels.
So you've deliberately gone out and sourced material that would have been sold in days of old?
Yep, and that's all to do with me wife, of course, and the girls. They source stuff from all over the place to suit that very old-time general store feel, from enamel plates to billy cans, the swags, the clothing, whatever those general stores had in it, you'll find it in that store right there.
That store is the setting every morning for Longreach's town crier.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to Longreach, the capital of the Central West.
Meet the silver-tongued Patrick Casey. He's 88 years old. He's an historian and a bush poet with strong opinions about his home here at Longreach.
Congratulations. When you go out on the sunset cruise with the Outback Pioneers, while you're out, they make a stew. When you come back, you can have the stew, and you may find a bit of crunch. It's only a grasshopper. I understand it's excellent protein.
Quite an act you turn on here.
Yes, it's a lot of fun, because the people now come to Longreach and see their own country.
And you wrote the script here?
Yes, it was quite easy because I've lived the history of the town, yes.
Be very wary of Kevin and Carol. They're 2 emus, and they pinch the food off your plate.
What is it that epitomises the outback of Queensland?
Friendliness. Anybody walking down the street, right back to when I was a kid, you greeted each other.
We're winding up our time with Outback Pioneers and their Welcome Home restaurant.
Food is so big here. We're in the Welcome Home restaurant for brekkie, a big country breakfast buffet. Hello, Diana.
Hello, good morning.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And of an evening, the stone grill menu. Now that's something special as well. In this process, stones are superheated to more than 400 degrees, with diners placing the food of their choice, from steaks to seafood, to be cooked. Delicious, with a campfire climax. An invitation from the Kinnons to unleash your pioneering spirit and book an Outback Pioneer storytelling holiday for a truly immersive experience.